What's up, guys, and happy 4th of July to you on this beautiful 4th of July day. I just found these sunglasses in the Cobalt, which is why I'm wearing them. They're not really my style, but they were free and they block the sun, so I guess I'll wear them. Plus, I might be able to pawn them for something because they say handmade and crude optique on them, which sounds pretty fancy. Anyway, I'm rambling now. Let's get on to the real video. So today is part 5 of me trying to do an engine swap in this warehouse's parking lot by myself. In this free Dodge Dakota that I got. Well, this one was 600 bucks. This one was the free one. I pulled the engine out of this one. I'm plopping it into this one. If you haven't seen the last couple of parts, check it out. But I've got the engine set in there. I got to take the hood off in a second. But I got the engine set in there. Now we're gonna try to bolt it up. Here's what I have so far. The engine's pretty much lined up and in there. Oops, we got a little rain last night. That can't be good for it. Anyway, there it is. Let's try to hook some stuff up. Okay, so what I'm going to work on now is getting the bell housing bolts in. So hopefully you guys can tell what I'm doing for the time lapse. So a lot of people ask me why I took off the intake manifold to take the engines out, and I'll show you why. So there are 2 bell housing bolts back here, one back behind the dipstick and one behind this little lip, and they're inaccessible without removing the intake manifold. But as you can see, I got those ones in. Looks like it's mating up perfectly right there. So let's get the other ones now. This is about the only time I won't mind lying under the truck because it's 90 degrees up there and it's only about like 80 down here, which is nice. But what I wanted to show you is we got the trans and the engines mated up. Trans and engine mated up pretty much perfectly, which is surprising. I was a little concerned I wouldn't be able to get them up perfectly since I'm doing this all by myself and it's hard to line them up. But look at that. They're mated like they were meant to be. Alright, now that I got all the bell housing bolts hooked in, I can put in the engine mounts or motor mount bolts. 2 of these long bolts and then 2 of these little nuts with washers on them. Alright, I have the engine 100% bolted in, so that means all the motor mounts are in. There's 4 motor mount bolts. All the bell housing bolts are in. I think there was 8 of them. I can't remember how many, but I got them all in. Cinched up perfectly. So the last thing I can do here at the warehouse today is I can attach the starter. Because the starter kind of goes to the transmission bell housing, and I just have that hanging there. So that's the last thing I can do today. I can't do anything else yet because all that stuff, all the accessories and the intake manifold, it's at my house. Who knows if you can see this or not, but here we go. Alright guys, the starter is in. I put the hood on to protect from the water. I'm gonna go home and enjoy the rest of the 4th of July. I hope you guys do the same. I was actually able to fit all the parts for the Dakota into the little trunk of this thing. It's this deceivingly large trunk. Anyway, let's go ahead and see if we can install it. Alright, another day back at the warehouse. We're gonna try to put on all the accessories. Probably won't be able to start it in this video, but we'll get it very close. So I'm gonna start putting on the intake manifold now. Alright, intake's on, all tightened to 9 foot-pounds. Got the throttle body hooked up now. It's time for the fuel rail. Alright, now it's time to put the coils in. Time to put the alternator in. And now the power steering pump. Alrighty, well, I'm going to put on the AC compressor now. Even though this truck, I'm not going to recharge the system yet. I just need the AC compressor so that the belt fits on correctly. Anyway, let's just do it. Anyway, let me put the radiator in and the rest of the stuff, and then we'll see if we can get this guy started up. So I think I have everything hooked up that it needs to start. Obviously it's going to run terribly if it does start because I don't have the O2 sensors plugged in, and I don't have all those fancy emission sensors plugged in yet. But I figured it might be able to just start. I just want to see if it'll run like this and then put everything back together. So I got this cheap Walmart battery. I bought the side post because it was 50 bucks cheaper. 50 bucks cheaper than the top posts. I know I probably should have bought the top post, but I'll say 50 bucks, so it's kind of on there janky. So when I bought this truck, I think the guy said it also had a bad fuel pump in it because it kept blowing fuel pump relays. And I turned the key and I'm not hearing the fuel pump run. So I'm just gonna try to grab the relay out of that truck and put it in here, see if that gives it enough to at least start it before it blows out that relay. If not, I'll try starting it on starter fluid or whatnot. But there's obviously gonna have to be another part of me replacing the fuel pump in this bad boy. All right, well, I just changed out the relays from that truck. I put it in here, and this fuel pump's still not making a noise at all. So unfortunately, it probably won't start in this video. I mean, I could try to spray a little bit of starter fluid down the throttle body just to see if it'll fire up off of that. Maybe I'll do that, but we're not going to actually get it running in this video. Alright guys, let's hope I don't cause a fire. We're going to try just a little bit of the good stuff. Just a squirt. Woohoo! Listen to that girl run. Let's do that just one more time, just for fun. Well, I guess it's not in the mood to run anymore, but we did hear a little bit of a sputter there, so good. Well, I made myself a little access port to get to the fuel pump with a little bit of brute force, a little bit of this guy. If you're mad at me, you probably shouldn't be watching this channel, because that's how I like to do things. Anyway, turned out I thought this was going to be the fuel pump and it'd be nice and easy to take out, but that's just the filler stuff. Turns out they buried the fuel pump under the cab there, and I'm not going to be able to, it's a really long thing, so I'd have to pull the cab off or drop the tank to get the fuel pump out. And unfortunately, the tank straps bolts are stripped because it was so rusty. I mean, you can see the amount of rust here. It's crazy. So I can't drop the tank really without cutting it down, and I obviously can't remove the cab without a substantial amount of work. So probably just gonna have to buy a new fuel pump and to film that another day, unfortunately.